in. I hear like an echo. Crap. Where's this echo come? Okay, I don't hear it anymore. All right. And I also noticed that I guess with Ecamm it kind of has the what they call the millennial pause.
Millennial
So have you heard of that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, looks like Ron's back. Let me. Hey, Ron. So the millennial pause is I guess millennials like whenever they click record, they pause for a second and then instead of immediately talking, they pause for a second and then start talking because I guess when it comes to like modern technology, we we didn't know we didn't like modern like TikTok and things like that. You can just you can just say it. You could just start talking immediately once the red dot starts blinking, the record. But
Mm.
when we were growing up, that wasn't the case. We had to pause for a second and then start because like the first second or two didn't really register. It was slow. But Gen Z apparently they never grew up with that, so they don't know. So I don't know. Apparently the millennial pause is like a bad thing, so you shouldn't do it. But I don't know.
Uh,
Ecamm, you gotta because I've definitely started a stream and I go on YouTube and I rewatch it, and it's like I'm in the middle of a sentence. But I mean,
uh,
I guess it's a good thing that we're yeah. So, anyways, this is way past the millennial pause. It's already been like about 2 minutes. This would have been like a boomer pause.
and
But
yeah, just
good evening, good afternoon, good night, everyone. We are the Melanated Council, and we stream every other Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time and 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and other unspecific times, or unpacific times, rather. We are a punny bunch, as you can see with our names. Um, but of course, it'll be, we'll really like it if you like and subscribe. Yay. I was trying to make that into an animation. Like I was watching a video today and it just wasn't working. Like they were asking me to do, it's like, oh, just go here and do that. And I'm like, that's not there. Then I looked at the video and I realized the video was 2 years old. So,
uh, that's always
yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. But, yes. So, if you're new to the channel, we usually we have a topic for every month, and we like to talk about that topic. And, we dive deep into, so for example, the topic for this month is money. It's the beginning of the year. We just came from the holidays. Some of us have probably went on like a spending binge or just, with purchasing gifts, food, dining, going out, etc., and so forth. It's been, you're probably looking at your account and thinking, where did the money go? And you're probably even more stressed because it's the first of the month. Well, technically second. And bills are still due, it doesn't matter no matter what. Every first of the month, bills are going to be due. Internet, cable, sometimes that's the same thing, at least for me in my case. And cell phone, etc., and so forth are due, and they're just going to keep coming. But yeah, so tonight's episode, if you saw the title, cashing through the holidays, which I personally love that name. Our co-host Ron here, who's I think he's I think he's on
I'm
mute.
here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Um, yeah, so our co-host Ron here, he came up with that title, which was genius. I don't know if you were trying to play a pun on words like dashing through the snow,
Exactly.
Okay.
That was exactly the thought. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. No, I loved it. I was like, I was trying to think how to make it to a song like cashing through the holidays, cashing through the year.
Yes.
Yeah, like yes. Thank you. Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy
Hey,
New
happy New
Year.
Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, and happy Haitian Independence Day yesterday. Too.
Yes. Ça
Mhm.
passe.
Yeah. Was it Mabule or is it Nabule? I can't remember if it's an M or an N, which is bad. I should know.
I
Like
always believed it was an N. Well, I
really?
should say always because I recently kind of found out what even is the correct response, like a year ago, or maybe end of 2021, if even. So I was out here pretending like I was down with the Creole, and I didn't even know how to respond. Um, I appreciate it. Thank you. Mm, I think I technically got it.
Hey. Happy New
Hey,
Year. Happy New
Woo.
Year.
Happy
the
New
new year to
Year.
the goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's just
Oh,
in
but
time.
um,
Hey.
ah, the World Independence Day. True. 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 Yeah, history that really set things off for the whole world. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, especially the Caribbean. But hey. It's really World Independence Day. But yeah. But chat, definitely let us know how were your holidays? What did you do for Christmas and New Year's? And Toby, Ron, how were your holidays?
You want to go first, Toby?
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Um, it was cool overall. I was home for Christmas and home by where my parents live, where I partially grew up. But my parents and sisters live there. Um, so I drove down. It's like an hour. Another
Hmm.
part of Maryland, and then I guess I got there on Saturday night. So that was the day before Christmas Eve. Um, but it was like late, like 4 a.m. because I was at a friend's grad party. So she graduated. She just got her PhD, like defended her dissertation and everything, like mid December sometime. I didn't even know the dissertation happened. Um, either yeah, because I feel like I wasn't active enough on Facebook or wherever to see it, but I thankfully got an invite to the her grad party because she's from Maryland. We went to college together. That's how we met. Even though she went to got her PhD at MIT. So long story short, she came down for the holidays from Massachusetts. Um, and it makes sense. She kind of has her community probably more down here than would be in Massachusetts, especially at that time of the year. Even if she decided to do a party out there, it would have been the holidays, and not everyone would be in town. So
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty great. I got to see some people I hadn't seen in a long time, like literally since before the pandemic. Um, some because a bunch of us went to the same college. I met some new people, and then Christmas Day was like 2 days later. I was supposed to have a friend come visit, another good friend of mine from Boston, ironically, but this friend is someone who's I met in Boston. She's from Boston, and she moved here in Maryland in like April. So things didn't end up working out. But it was still cool because it was actually her birthday too. Like Christmas is her birthday,
Mm.
so we kept in touch though. I was able to go to some New Year's Eve parties, just like more chill kickbacks. I went to two on New Year's Eve, and so my friend happened to live in the same town, like literally less than 10 minutes walking from one of my college friends in this town in Maryland. Like, so it's just crazy. So I basically invited her. I was like, "Hey, um, why don't you come to my friend's thing?" Made sure it was cool for her to come. It was great. We rung in the New Year's there, and then I jumped back to another place. Huh. Oh, jeez.
Mhm.
So it was cool though. Like it was all good. It was all a good time. I didn't do anything New Year's Day. I thought I would, but I think I just ended up sleeping in because I had gone to back events, was out late, came back home late, slept. So it was the first time though that I've been home for the holidays. Like I should say, it's the first time that I have been living here full time in time for the holidays. You know, being in college is different because you always are going to be at home. Um,
Right.
after each semester. When I was in
Mm.
grad school, I was living out of state, and I would come home to Maryland. So, and then when I was working full time, I'd always come home to Maryland, but I would fly home, and so I didn't have, and I didn't, I had a car in Massachusetts, but I didn't drive, so I didn't have my car available. So this is the first time that like I'm actually here, and I had a car and another apartment to go to. That's not my, besides my parents' house. So it was like, what can I do for New Year's Eve? It was kind of exciting. I didn't go party or anything in terms of like going out to big events in DC, but I still enjoyed
Right.
my time, and it gave me an idea of what I might want to do in future years, um, and also other holidays because I haven't been here quite yet a year. Anyways, I'll get more into that a little bit later, but I haven't been in Maryland for a whole year, so there's still a lot of things to experience holiday wise and milestone wise, but. I'll kick it off over to Ron.
Oh my gosh. Polar nights. Sorry, I had
Wow.
to. Long time no
Hello.
see.
I know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. How have you been?
Agreed.
Yeah. And are you in our Discord chat? I don't know if you. I'm gonna. We're gonna throw in the link right now to invite you because it is. It shouldn't be this long since we talked to you.
Yes.
That's
Because aren't you in oh where
like
are you? Are you in the UK?
like the Netherlands or something.
I think they're in like
Yeah,
Sweden or in Finland or something. Um, I
somewhere
think I
around that.
remember because
Oh my god,
if I remember correctly, there was someone
that's.
who was Eritrean. Oh, sorry, go
Oh
ahead.
no, it's what Polar Nights was saying. It's negative 42 degrees Celsius. That's
Oh snap! Whoa,
island
wait a
in
second.
North Norway. Oh my god.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so it
Yeah.
was Norway. Okay, NSF. Okay, yeah.
Mhm. That's insane.
Cool. You
Cool
were
is
joining
an
us all the way.
understatement.
Well,
Freezing is
I know.
yeah, I'm dead. Actually, Tra. It's three
Yes.
of us.
Yeah, there's three of
yeah.
us.
I
Just
just
two of
don't
us
have
are
a
visually.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. This thing is reverse imaged. Cool.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hope you're doing
Normal.
good too,
Normal.
Polar Nights. But yeah, like Polar Nights, yeah, he
I'm
used
dead.
to he used to come on. Like I feel like it's been probably like a year or two. Like it's been a hot minute.
Yeah. Agreed.
Always good seeing normal Americans for a change. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, let's go. On that
And
note, I'm gonna take a drink to that.
Yes, thank you.
yes. Did you happen to have another name under like a YouTube channel? Because I know there were some people where they would have a Twitch and a YouTube, and they were like the same person. And but I don't know if you're one. Like there was someone I remember who was like Watcher Roll Quinn, and they had like another name. But it's sometimes hard to remember. Wait, is this person someone else? Because a lot of people have like multiple names. But I do remember for the most part the conversations that we had, or at least you would chime in talking about being in that area and some of the diversity and other stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, it has been. My YouTube
Yeah,
name is my real name. Okay. So
I
maybe you haven't
yeah, I
gone
don't
with
think I
that.
ever used her. Came on here on YouTube, or
Okay,
maybe,
cool.
maybe I don't know. But yeah. How was your holiday, Polar Nights? And how was it in Norway? How was Christmas and New Year?
Yes.
I Yeah, that must be like the snow and everything must be so pretty, but I don't envy it.
Mhm.
I don't envy it at all because where I'm at, it's chilly for me. It's been in like the 60s lately, and I know y'all want to slap me in the face, but
Well, I can't. I'm gonna say I can't speak for polar nights. I know for myself, it's been weird.
mm,
Just
Oh.
okay.
Sox is 3 pair.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so
Yep.
64 degrees Fahrenheit is about 18 degrees Celsius. So because I forgot the everywhere else does Celsius because everywhere else is sane. So
Actual
Yeah.
metric.
yeah, right. Your supply of
I
socks.
guess yeah, that's a good thing. I think I need all like I consider some of that in Massachusetts because it's notoriously it's not even the coldest part of the country to be honest, but it does get very cold up in New England. And so I consider like long johns or some thermal underwear, but I never ended up. I didn't know about thermal suits. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, America.
The whole
Yeah, I don't
suit.
know why we're doing.
Yeah. I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was President Carter or President Kennedy. One of them wanted to start having America get to learn the metric system. Apparently it was like called 10 years to 10, because the metric
Mm,
system is by tens. And then
Mm.
a Republican one, might have been Reagan, not sure. Some Republican one and was like, no, we can't learn that, blah, 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 bullshit kind of thing. And that's why we're here. We could have known both. We could have been one of those countries that knows two things, but no.
like the UK, they have their own imperial system and the metric. Um,
Ooh, we live on.
yeah,
Ooh, the wind must be brutal.
yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say yes.
Geography, pressure, something about yeah. There was always some weird stuff going on with wind. Once I learned what wind really was, I was like, "What in the world? What is this?" Um, it's not just the clouds blowing. It's not the clouds with a smiley face blowing air. I've been lied to my whole life. This was high school when I found out what wind was. I guess I just never Googled it until ninth grade. So I was like, "Oh, that's how that works."
The
Um,
clouds with the like the guy who does like the face. He's like that.
yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, of course, I didn't like literally think it was anthropomorphic, whatever. But I never registered kind of what wind really was, where it really came from, and so I guess because I know it has to do with pressure differences, and I guess with flat land, it's plus the fact there's no like other objects. I don't know. It's kind of fascinating actually, but yeah, I thankfully wind has not been like a serious issue recently. That used to be a problem depending on where I lived or like being in campus. But now I'm like, I don't really remember like substantially experiencing really bad wind any time in the past like year, maybe, or at least since I moved here to Maryland and Massachusetts. There was some ugly cold. Oof, there's some nasty moments early in the year, like February. And the wind, it was mostly just brutally cold, negative Fahrenheit. So Celsius is already going to be very bad.
Yeah,
Um, but
that's just terrifying.
um, yeah, the tools I use are mostly metrics. The machines I work on.
Right. Like I wish I knew metric. Like I remember watching a YouTube video by Community Channel, like that Asian woman from Australia. Like she's a she was really big back in the day, and now she's just kind of big. If you remember her from maybe like 10 years ago or so, and she
Mm.
had like a recent-ish video, probably within the past year or two, and somebody was saying like because she always has conversations with herself. Of course, ask away, Polar Nights. Please do. Please
Mm-hmm.
ask this question. But Community Channel was saying like something about the guy was like 2 maybe 3 feet, and I mean no not 3. He's like 2 maybe 3 meters. It's like what, Natalie? No one's 3 meters. That's almost 9 feet tall. And so, like, it was just funny because, like, she knew that no one can be 3 meters because that's almost 9 feet. Like, she knew that it was similar.
Interesting.
Mm.
You said that was on Community,
Community channel.
or
That was the name of the YouTube channel, not the show Community. I don't know if I was.
oh, interesting. Okay.
Why do you label yourself using African American? I only see. Um,
Well,
you're not wrong, and I don't like. I'm gonna try to explain this as best as I can, and please, Ron and Toby, more than welcome to help answer.
We got you.
It, I guess, like, in America, if we were to just say, like, Americans, like American stuff, it's gonna feel like it's gonna skew more white American. Of course, not always, but just generally speaking, more so. So it kind of helps to niche down in a way. Granted, I don't really consider ourselves like, I don't know, like I don't want to say, I want to find a better way to say in typical African American or like Black American Black YouTube channel, but I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit hard to say because we are Black people on a YouTube channel. So, like, it's like, I don't know. I guess because we tend to talk about a lot of different things, but I don't know. I haven't seen every single Black YouTube channel, so I wouldn't be surprised if there were others like us, you know.
mm.
But at the same
And
time, it can't be like us because we're the only Ron, L, and Toby on the internet simultaneously at the same time.
right. And even in
Yes.
Polar, just to kind of add on to what Elle is saying, even some parts here in America were not accepted because of course, our skin color.
Hmm.
And we had different points of views, different experiences, like a lot of things here in America, we are not fully accepted in. And so to kind of have some kind of oh community within a community, it pretty much help us to identify with other like-minded people. And even still, then not to say, I mean, true. This is true. Like, yes, we have a year-round tan versus our counterparts, but at the same time, and even if we know this is 2024, there's still like a lot of racism that has still need to be um I don't want to say
Addressed.
accepted, but
Oh, accepted.
addressed. Thank you. Yes, addressed. There's still a lot. Even in the small rural town that I live in here in Michigan, where we're still up north, but there's still racism that happens
Mm.
a lot more than what you would think. And so, because of the fact that, again, we don't necessarily, well, I'm gonna say not we, I personally don't agree with half of the crap that happens here in America. And if I had the money to uproot and leave and take my family with me and go somewhere else, best believe we would have done that like 10 years ago and not bat an eye, just because of the fact we know how things can get bat crap crazy in a heartbeat. Like, no. But because of the fact, don't have like tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of dollars to uproot my family and to go live somewhere else, like, Japan or Switzerland or Sweden or Norway, where they have a UBI and a VAT tax, and you don't pay for an ambulance to come in an emergency because it's an emergency, but you pay through all of those services through your taxes, which again is the smartest idea I think has ever happened. And here in America, everybody's like, no, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for everything, but at the same time, you can still achieve the American dream. Like, but hey, bet, say less, say less. Go to Norway, bet.
I would
Which is
I would like to.
which is which is crazy because like if you think about like the top 10 safest countries to live at in the world, Norway's top 10.
That's true. I've heard that. Yeah.
Norway's like
Nice.
top 10, probably like top 5. So I'm like, hey, why not? Why not?
Yeah, I get what you're.
Agreed, Dill.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Go. Like,
Hmm.
I. I don't know. Like, the one of the things I didn't like about the term, it's not about the term African American, is that it's just long. Like that's. Like, I feel like it's like a mouthful, and it's like a term. I don't know. I don't really like. This is, I guess, bad. But I don't really know where like the not even our cops carry guns. I don't know where like the phrase came from exactly because yeah, like
So,
you know, like I never minded being called black because it's like straight to the point. You know what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, and I guess when you're when your parents are from like the islands or something, then it's like, okay, yeah, I know that, like we initially came from Africa, but I would like if I had to like identify myself, it would be like Afro Caribbean American, Jamaican American, because it's like not to be like, oh, I don't want to identify as African. Like that's not the case at all. Absolutely, I'm African. It's just like I don't know. I've just
sorry, I just look at the comment.
no, it's fine. It's just like why do I feel like oh, shut up. I don't know. Like it's like if you call me African American, I'm like okay, whatever. Like, but I don't know. Like I just feel like I don't know. Like I don't think it really matters at this point. What it's just like I just feel like the. I guess I just look at it kind of like a marketing standpoint. It's like the term is just very long. Like the way it's like black. It's shorter. I don't find it to be offensive. I find it offensive if people say like the blacks. Like like okay, that's like I don't know a little. It just hits the ear wrong. Like there's definitely nuance to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I remember at a previous job, this white gentleman, my white coworker, he asked me like, he's like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Florida. I'm from South Florida." And he's like, "Oh no, like, what's your nationality?" And I said, "American." And I wasn't even trying to mess with him. It was just like I was literally answering his questions because it's true. It's like I'm from here.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, like where? It's like I guess he asked. I was like, oh, you want to know where my parents are from? Like, oh, like my ethnicity. I'm Jamaican, Haitian, Bahamian, African American. Let's see what America can runs on marketing label. Yeah, that's true.
Labels.
Yeah,
Dunkins and labels.
runs on Dunkin' and label.
I think in Yeah, there's a lot of good points going all around. My first instinct when you asked the question, Polar Nights, was like, well, a lot of us, I guess, don't actually call ourselves African Americans. Black is usually the very cultural thing, Black culture. I mean, African American culture, I guess, but really Black culture, like Black News Network, Black this, it's really like people typically will call each other Black comedians. Pretty much most people are saying Black. African American seems very formal.
Yeah.
Incorrect, in some ways, because I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Sure, we all come from Africa, but then that goes beyond Black people too. But I guess if you want to look at more recently, sure, most people, Black people, really would have came from Africa.
Right.
But well, African American seems more formal. You see it more like police. I think even when I hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it sounds like a police description. Like the African American height this. Like no, like it's just I feel like when I hear African American, I can't help but think of it in the context of a police report or some kind of news report or something that's just like formal and not always good. Not saying that it like sounds derogatory or anything, but it's not something I think casually I'm using to
Mm-hmm.
describe myself or anyone else. But I think it does end up getting used. Like if you maybe see it in the professional place and you're looking at DEI, like diversity, equity, inclusion, yeah, you'll see probably African American come up, especially if it's being verbalized, where you're saying like we're looking, or oftentimes you'll say people of color. So, but then that ends up being
Mhm.
broader. So people of color is broader, but you might say African American. But I would say that I mean I guess the greater point is why distinguish yourself as African American and not just one big America. Well, the history, I guess, of just how a lot of Black people came here, not by choice, and they don't always associate, American the way others would, where they, I mean, some people had not great conditions either, like the Irish or the Italians, but with like Black people, I mean, really, it's like that connection is severed. And so I guess the Africa is sort of just that way of reclaiming some heritage, because coloreds was a whole thing, which that had to go because that was, you know, I mean, even Black people did call themselves colored to some degree, but it's rooted in just a lot of segregation type stuff. So that went
Mhm.
away. And I guess African
Right.
American, I would love to look at the history of it because I do need to look at why, like when these things happened, the census, how that got built, how the names changed. There's a lot of interesting history, I think, of it all. But suffice it to say, Black people, or I guess the African American label came just because the history was so different and unique. And the history, even though not all Black people are the same or came exactly from the same place, it was kind of a shared trauma. And the African American just was that link, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
then you have the weirdness of, not everyone directly claims the Africa label. Like for me, my parents are from Nigeria. I was born here, but because my parents are literally African, cool. African American works. And sometimes I'll tell people that and they'll be like, or I won't go, I will just tell people that my parents blank or I am Nigerian and they'll be like, oh yeah, you actually are African American. Like you're like the only one who could claim it. And I'm like, well, I don't feel that strongly about it where I'm like, people can't say the term. Like, how dare other people say it? Like, no, I don't really care if other people, because that again, that's more institution. America as an institution uses that term, so I'm not whatever. But I know there are some people who have strong feelings about African American and why are they calling themselves that. That might be a bit more specific though within Black community. Well, versus you kind of asking this question, you know, not necessarily that angle that you're coming from, but there are a lot of people who kind of would rather make the distinction. Black people who say that they don't want to be associated. They might not disrespect Africa, but they'll just say, I don't have that direct heritage, so I'm going to call myself Black. Then there's like Africans who might also be like, why are these people calling themselves African American? It's a whole thing. But I
Right.
think
Yeah.
overall, the term is not one that's used as colloquially. Like people just rather say Black, you know, yeah, you're Black.
Like,
And
because even when you
yeah,
were
sure,
saying,
you're American.
like, because even when you
Yeah,
were saying that your parents are from Nigeria, it's like I was thinking, like, well, you could technically just call yourself Nigerian American. But like, I don't know, because that
yeah.
also makes it confusing. Because it's like it makes it sound like you were born in Nigeria, but like I don't know, like, but at the same time, not because we understand that. I don't know. I don't know. Michael works in Nigeria.
No, I get what you're saying.
Oh, he will be. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mhm.
And that's cool with Polar Nights, actually. That's a
Mhm.
funny connection. I didn't even know that before. Um, what time? Like, do you remember like when that was? If it was recent decades or like before 2000 or what time period? Um, it's interesting. He worked in Nigeria on a supply ship. No, yeah, there's a lot about the country that especially now, that's kind of made it more of a global powerhouse. But you know, it's just funny because I find randomly that people have been there. Like one friend of mine's Pakistani, and we recently
Nice.
caught up because she actually moved to Maryland, but I knew her from grad school 4 to 5 years ago. Okay, wow, very recent. Right around slash before COVID. So, yeah, that's cool. But a friend of mine who's Pakistani, I knew her in 2016 when I was in grad school in upstate New York, and she actually was telling me, I forgot about this until I saw her recently for like a housewarming because she moved to Maryland, and I saw her around the Thanksgiving time. It was very unexpected, like to kind of catch back up with her, but especially after not seeing her for like at least 5 years, if not like closer to 7, 8. And so she was saying something along the lines of her mom was in Nigeria, and I was like as a teenager, apparently, I guess grandfather, so her mom's dad like worked in Nigeria in like a more affluent part, and then the mom went to some school, and I was like, that's so random because she's like Pakistani. Like if you hear her speak, I mean, she's Pakistani, like, and I don't know how long she lived in Nigeria once she kind of finished college, but it was something I completely forgot about. But then I'm like, wow, what are these people randomly doing in Nigeria in like the I don't know whatever decade they were in, 60s, 70s, 80s, and you just sound with your uncle much more recent, but anyway, like especially when you're more international, yeah, you probably are just going to associate people with the country. Like one thing I saw was like about the UK. With the UK, I guess like people might have certain ethnic, like they might talk about like what country they're from, but they don't talk as much about color and like specifically. Like I saw this recently on some thread, maybe in some comments, but it was interesting when they were talking about it where you might go into like your country, particularly if you're Caribbean. There's a whole history of the UK and the Caribbean, and so they'll claim that like Jamaican or whatever, if they don't just kind of say that they're from whatever town, like London or Westminster or wherever they're from, they might actually go ahead and claim the country. So it ends up being more of an ethnicity thing versus here in the US where you have race. And then we're the only one that are African American. You have black, you have Asian, well, Native American, sure. Pacific
Mm-hmm.
Islander, well, even Native Indian. Sometimes you terms that weren't even 100% accurate, and then you have African American, but black is showing up more in these specific classifications. Like I rarely will see just African American by itself. You'll see black slash African American, or you can even get more
Right.
detailed. But anyway, that's a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, no, it's a good question. Thank you for bringing it up. It's actually an interesting topic of itself, and something that I probably will just do a little more research into because I want to see how things developed. Particularly, I feel like in the 1900s, 50s onwards, there's so much random recent history that I don't know about that like wasn't that long ago. People were alive back then who are still alive now,
Right.
and so it is kind of weird sometimes. Like, why did these things happen? Why are we calling ourselves this?
Yeah. And like how it was just, kind of like widespread and everything. Like, I don't know. I really do think it's marketing. To kind of go back, like, to
Mm.
throw in like our topic with like holidays and everything. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like I don't know about y'all, but like whenever it's towards the end of the year, especially like the last month of the year, um, I get so anxious. Like, cause I don't, cause it's like, oh my goodness, the year is ending. Like this big
Mm.
thing is ending, and now we're going into a new thing, and I've done it several times, but I don't know. It's just like every year, it just seems kind of like more. Like it gives like this feeling of renewed, but then you actually get into the year, and it doesn't feel new. It just feels like just a continuation. Like I don't know. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know how to describe it, but all the things you see on Instagram, all the things you see on like TV and everything. It's like how everybody's talking about out things. Like, oh, I'm gonna wait until January. It's like, oh, that's like a next year thing. Oh, I'm gonna, and it's like I I've been realizing just like how big of a lie that is. Cause
Hmm.
like I so long story short, side tangent. I don't know, insert some sort of transition here. Meanwhile, um like I was telling myself like, okay, I'm gonna start getting like serious about, I don't know, I can't even remember what I wanted to get serious about. I think it was exercise. But I was but to prepare myself for this month, because I know I was gonna feel this way of like, all right, now it's time to start things. I've been, trying to work out or go to the gym twice a week since like October. I know I've mentioned this to you all on the stream, several times before. And I'm pretty glad that I did do that, because even that, like, I did some exercises today for my shoulder that I dislocated last year, but um you don't need to work out. Well, I need to stay looking good, bowler nights.
Yes.
But thank you. So, yeah, excited like a little bit of like exercises for my dislocated shoulder, and because I stopped going to PT like last Friday or whatever was my last day. I could have
Hey.
continued, but I technically didn't have to continue. So I was like, I might as well just save my money and I guess start the year anew. But it was more so that I didn't want to deal with the insurance crap. So it's like, new
That was true.
year. I mean, even though I have like the same health insurance, I didn't want to deal with whatever crap could be happening, because I had an annoying payment issue, sometime last year. I was like, I'm not even going to try to risk it. So, like now I'm kind of just like on my own, but since I've been working out on my own and working on my shoulder, in addition to going to PT last year, it's been, kind of helpful. But pretty much like what I wanted to say is that it just seems like everything keeps pushing towards like this narrative, and we're susceptible to it no matter what. So like going to the gym, working out, especially like at the beginning of the year, and like being like, all right, I'm going to leave. Like if you see like those GIFs on Twitter or Instagram or something, like somebody walking up steps and the steps will have like stress, anxiety, being broke or something, or like, oh, I'm leaving all this stuff in last year, blah, like in the 2023 and going into 2024 without that and blah, blah, blah. But then you really don't, by like March or April, you're picking up that stress, you're picking up that anxiety. Like,
Oh, you get the long ramp, March, April.
yeah. You think it's sooner?
Well, it depends. It depends. I'm being slightly facetious, but
No, I mean, yeah, like I was thinking, because usually around March, April is when like the New Year's resolutioners stop going to the gym. It's a like, yeah, I think January, February is like at its peak, and then it starts to come down around March, April. But they still continue paying for the gym membership, which is good, because without them, gyms wouldn't be able to afford the equipment and things that they do have. Fun fact.
oh
So,
snap!
yeah.
I thought you were being sarcastic first, like kind of like, oh, think about the poor corporations, but then you're like, oh no, that's actually
Yeah, that's literally how. So they market to you, and then like they're like, "Oh, it's only $10 a month, whatever." You have that, then you just have that subscription. It's just taken $10, but like theoretically, for all the people who are like a member at a particular gym, it's impossible for them to all fit. at the same time. So like, and gyms know this. So you understand? Like, sorry. Oh man, I
Yeah.
always hated like those motivational videos. Like, it's one of those like feel good dopamine hits that don't really do anything. What is it like at the gym for a man slash woman these days? You look at a woman, man, or talk to one. Do you get labeled as one of those men or females? Um, is it? I was kind of, I was kind of vague. Polar nights. Like, you mean like a creep or something?
That's what I'm guessing. I get what the question is asking because the last time, yep, the last time I went to the gym, I think I may have had one pleasant conversation with the older gentleman, and we were just on bicycles because me and treadmills we really don't get along.
I feel
But
low.
get on getting on the exercise bike, like yeah, and we sat there, we talked for a good while, and it was cool and whatnot. When it comes to talking to a woman at the gym, it's kind of iffy because a lot of them, especially in my area, a lot of times they don't want to be bothered. They want to do their workout, go home, and hopefully not see you again, which is fine. Now, does that mean that I don't get the occasional looks? Of course, it happens. And even then, I'll just look, I'll wave, let them know, like, hey, I see you looking at me. And yes, I'm looking at you because you're looking at me. And I'm going to acknowledge your presence because
Mm-hmm.
that was how I was born and raised. Like, if someone is in your direction, you acknowledge their presence. There's nothing wrong with that. You keep it moving. And so that's pretty
Right.
much what I've done, not necessarily wanting to strike up a conversation, but again, just like, I'm acknowledging that you're here. I'm acknowledging that you're in this shared space, and we're going to leave it at that. If anything else weird happens after that, okay, whatever. But just like how you're here to do your workout, I'm here to do my workout, and I'm going to go home and go to bed and be happy. That's it. You know, and again, that's just from my point of view and what I've experienced the last time I've been to a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, yeah, norm. And again, like I was saying before, a lot of times I have like very good conversations with like other men at the gym versus women.
Yeah. Like,
So,
I mean, I guess it's like I do feel like if someone is trying to, I guess, like approach someone, I feel like at the gym it'd be easier for a woman to approach a man than a man to approach a woman for a lot of reasons. It's
Hmm.
just like, yeah, because like it could be like really annoying, like when someone is trying to like tries to like hit on you and you're just trying to like do your thing, or someone is being a creep, like a couple of months ago or something like that. Like I went to the gym and like there wasn't that many people there because of the time I went, but there was like this man who just like kept looking at me, and like he did, he made like a little like motion, like yeah, like good job, or like you're doing your thing, and I was like thanks, but like it was kind of awkward because it was like he kept looking at me, and then he did something. Then he did that thing, which is like okay, but now it's just kind of awkward. But then like I tried to like not look at him. I was like, like looking at like the TV, but he was like exercising right in front of me, and like I could keep seeing him from like my peripheral vision that he just kept like looking at me, and I was like, oh my god, it's like one of those things where it's just like if you're gonna keep looking at me, I'd rather you just like talk to me, so I could just turn you down. You know, like, because, but like, of course, there's like the whole how he can react after you turn him down, because sometimes, you know, you never know what can happen. He might get really angry. Mish, Happy New
Hey,
Me.
Year!
hey, Happy New Year!
Hey,
Yes, oh my
so
goodness.
good
Yes,
to see you.
the number one mod on Twitch, hands down.
Yes,
Don't care.
Facts.
Number one.
Facts.
number one cosplayer too.
Yo, oh yeah.
Yes.
That's all facts.
Oh,
All facts.
that's, me, by the way, Misha's cosplay is not creepy. It's how some people at the gym act is creepy. That's what Gil is referring to. FYI. The
Okay,
looking is off.
now you're sure.
Yeah, like, you know, I wasn't born yesterday. I know when a guy is checking me out. It's just like if it's if it's just like look when it's like when they're looking like a lot. Sometimes it's like, are you just looking because I'm the only like woman around? Because like if I'm at the weights, more than likely, you know, like I would be like the only woman, or there'll just be like another woman there, and there'll be like 8, 9, 10 guys, but I'm not afraid of going to the weights. Some of the exercises I do require weights. So, like, I do upper body sometimes. What can I say? uh,
Yes.
yes. Yeah, like our last program, Restream.io, for whatever reason, was just not with the times. Like, I don't know what. It was so.
Oh, oh
I'm
yeah, I
the.
forgot that it was doing.
No, sorry. Like, I'm the best looking woman. Thank you. I'm the best looking. Take that, Beyonce. I'm kidding. Of
No,
course she would.
no, she's not. Even though, yes, she's being humble, no, she's not. Listen, you better own that.
Hey, best looking woman.
You better own it.
But yeah, like there's definitely a difference between like staring and the creepy look. Like, and like there's it's a I wouldn't even say it's like a hard thing to manage. It's just like, it's okay to just like see someone nod, acknowledge their presence, and then, kind of just keep it moving. Like, I understand just like, maybe like casually glancing, because if the person's, attracted, it's like, okay. But if you're trying to like work out near them, if you're trying to like, granted, it's like, of course, like there's no way of telling, but if you're trying to like work out near them, or if you're trying to, I don't know, just like keep looking, it's just kind of like it's one of those things, like I'm like, just flip and talk to me at this point. Like we made eye contact several times, just wave, like what Ron said, like just acknowledge my presence, like, okay, well, wave and smile. Like if you come by, it's like, hey, how's it going, blah blah blah. Like, granted, like I'm not looking for anybody, but it's just, I'd rather you talk, find out that I am not single or I'm not interested, and we just kind of keep it moving, rather than you just constantly looking at me. Because it's like, are you trying to work up the nerve? Are you trying? Yeah, they're orbiting. Yeah, that's true. Hey,
Here we
Hey,
go.
yes, let's go.
hey, good to see you, Ender. Hey, new year, old friends. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I know.
Yes.
I love being the best looking man. I it is tough, but we some of us are just burdened with a little bit more. I happily shoulder that burden.
Right. One thing I fail at it is assuming that someone else has the same mentality. Oh yeah, I feel like we all fail at that because
Yeah.
yeah, like
Mm,
they
mm.
yeah, because we just assume that like oh this person wants to talk, and I'm like oh like, yeah of course let's talk, and then it's like oh they wanted more. It's like oh I should have known that. They like I don't just have like I have a boyfriend tattooed on my forehead. So like, I'm taken. But and I don't, of course I'm not married, so I don't have like a ring on my finger. But
Mm.
so there isn't really any way of knowing. Also, it's not like having a ring on your finger would stop men anyway. But
Yeah. Oof. It's true.
like a lot of people
Mm.
do creepy things. I'm like, oh wait, this is not what I thought.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes, cause like sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit naive, where I kind of walk around and I'm like, oh, this person has an anime shirt. Let's be friends. And sometimes like I
Mm.
wear an anime shirt just to, like, hey, if anybody knows Attack on Titan. And like I'm thinking about like everybody wears a bunch of anime shirts to the gym now. Um so that's kind of cool, but it just I don't know. Like nobody talks to anybody. I talk to people. Like not really. Usually if it's like of course it's like oh, are you still using that blah 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 or just like sometimes if somebody's like lifting heavy, like if it's especially if it's like a woman, I go up to her and give her props.
Mm.
You
Mhm.
guys are always like, I'm always thinking it better be free drinks involved. Right? Yeah, yeah, same. Yeah, like I just think people, it's like, how come no one just wants to like just talk and get to know people? It's like it has to be some kind of transactional thing.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
just
I
saying.
mean,
I
very,
love it.
yes, that too.
Also advertising old
Mm-hmm.
dating shirt on Burger King. Oh boy, that's interesting.
Burger King is my Tinder. I mean,
No free drinks involved.
an old dating shirt on. Your old dating shirt. Oh
But like
man.
your bat signal, like oh I'm available shirt, or the shirts that you used when you were dating. Um, I think, and that's yeah. I'm gonna kick that one to another topic about unconventional dating apps or dating experiences outside of dating apps.
That's a
That's
good.
actually yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that. Like, especially with February, as you know, with dating and everything. But like, um,
Mm.
I did want to quickly mention about since we're on the topic of gyms, like the whole membership thing. I try to tell everybody this. If you don't have time blocked out already to work out, if you are brand new to working out anyway, if you don't have a trainer or a friend who is already working out, who you can just, who you can tag along with to go to the gym with, um, more than likely you're not going to just start going to the gym.
Mm.
So it's best to not get a gym membership. Try to see if you live in an apartment complex or a neighborhood that has a gym, see if there's a gym there, and maybe start using that because you're more than likely already paying for that through your rent or HOAs or whatever. So try using that. Try to see if you can get some kind of discount on gyms if if you're like dead set and gung ho about signing up for a gym. Try to see if you can get a discount on gyms, maybe through like
Hmm.
your job. I use a program called Active and Fit. I get it through my job. You may have seen that, like if you have like perks at work or some sort of you, like health insurance thing, like it. You may have seen it. What I love about Active and Fit is that you can like it's about $30 a month, and you can sign up for like pretty much any gym. So I have memberships at LA Fitness, UFit, Planet Fitness, one called EOS, which is in like very few places. They opened up a Crunch Fitness recently, kinda ish near me, so I'm thinking about signing up for Crunch using that. If I'm like in the area, it's near my sister's house. So yeah, cop car to start running blue and red lights is a cheap motivation. Yeah, that's true too. Um, I guess like especially like what I find weird about like trying to go to the gym at the beginning of the year is that a lot of y'all live in places where it's cold right now. So like what are you doing leaving the house? Like that is just like insanity to me. And I think
Hmm.
that's why a lot of times like people stop because everyone's like, I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m. and go to the gym. It's like it is 2 degrees outside where y'all are. Like, what do you mean? Like, because I was gonna suggest, oh, y'all can just like go for a walk outside or go for a jog outside, but I'm like, oh, right. It's like, yeah, it is like 0 degrees Celsius where you all
Yeah.
For the most part, you're not wrong, but even still, like now, like here in Michigan, like we had a good snowfall that what what's today, Tuesday,
are.
so maybe Saturday slash Sunday, and the snow is already gone,
Mm,
and so it's kind of like, yeah, we could possibly get away with taking a run and jog outside, but then again, also knowing at the same time, because Michigan is bipolar as all get out during the middle of your run,
Mm.
it could very well rain and snow at the same time, and you come home, of course, hot because you've been running, but freezing your butt off because of the cold wind that's blowing. So you might mess around and get sick with COVID, pneumonia, RSV, who knows what. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, it sucks
mm-hmm.
bad. But even still, then like we really haven't had like an actual winter yet, which is alarming to me. Which
Mm-hmm.
is very alarming to me because it's like, okay, where's the snow? We had this is like the second year of me living in Michigan that we've actually had a green Christmas. And I'm like, I'm not used to that. Not at all.
Mm.
This is the second year in a row where it did not snow on Christmas or even a few days before Christmas. Like there was literally no snow on the ground. I think before we
Mm.
went on Christmas break, we got snow. And then it shot back up to like 50, 60 degrees. And it has stayed that way up until Sunday, going into Monday, where it snowed. No, not even that. Nope, it was still like 50 something degrees. It didn't snow until like Thursday, Friday, the week of Christmas. And then it melted, rained, and even on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day, it started snowing. But again, it's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, Yeah, like for Michigan as of right now, this is very, very unnormal, very
Mm.
unnormal, and so it's more so like the winter here is more so wet and cold versus like cold and snowy.
Mm,
Ah, that's
it's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. No, like it's getting really concerning. It's
Yes,
like I don't know how people still deny it. Like, there's no way. It's like just because it snows doesn't mean like the Earth isn't heating up. Like this is really
right,
bad.
right,
Like it was
right,
hot on Christmas Day. It's not like super
Yeah,
abnormal, but it's like it was just like not okay. Like it's like I'm glad that it's starting to cool down now, but it's still not even that cool. Like
hmm
mm,
it's
I
yeah. I think
know.
I remember it was very warm the last week. Not even the last week. It was the week before Christmas leading in, and I was like, wow, this is like I think it was raining one of the days. But there was some day where yeah, I agree. It was like 50s or 60s. And yeah, because I definitely was like, wow, it hit like 50 or 60, and the low of 40 something. Which I mean, for us, if it's like that through, I mean, granted, it's the beginning of winter, but just seeing that, it's like okay, low of 40 something, like especially if it's a high 40 something, that's like pretty warm. Like if it got to the 50s, 60s, like now it is actually getting below freezing, so 20 Fahrenheit, or probably a few negative, like one negative two, negative three Celsius. And that's of course more par for the course anyway for winter, especially in areas that get cold. But like it was a pretty good run where it was like yeah rainy. It was weird rainy. Um, oh, this is not good. I have these pop ups for recently, like maybe the last month or two, for NBA games, and I guess I've become something of a Celtics fan, even though I don't follow the NBA seriously. So I was trying to like pull up weather on my phone. I instead see that we're losing with like 12 seconds left, but it's fine.
oh
123 to 125. Yeah. That okay, we'll close the gap. It was 121 to 125. Um,
okay.
but I still don't see how you can pull it off, especially if you just yeah, anyways. It's all good. Let me look at the weather. Um, low of 31 Wednesday, 28 today. So basically it's hitting the freezing, and it's going to be snowy a little bit on Saturday, but that's like 35, 31. I
Mm.
mean, that's cold, but it's not like as cold as it could be. And the fact is, it keeps hitting 40s in the high, so it's gonna keep melting. So that's another annoying thing is the melt refreeze cycle. Um,
Which is like
Mhm.
really dangerous, right? Because that's what creates
yeah,
like black ice for driving, right?
that's what creates black
Yep.
ice, and yeah, driving for sure. And I was even thinking just like when I'm walking to my car or walking in general, and it's like yeah, you got to be careful of that. I think I've always been out also when it's been warmer. I mean, if it's like late at night, sure, it's going to be colder. But if I was driving like during the day to go to work or something, then I'm walking to my car, and it's definitely going to be at a warmer time. And same thing when I'm leaving can be variable, but anyway, yeah, the weather has been a little bit strange, for sure.
Mm.
Um, and so holidays so far have been a little unpredictable. I know, and this is semi-related. Polar Nights, you mentioned getting these like, whether you're joking or being serious or like half serious, having like the warm stuff because I can't remember. It was like thermal underwear, thermal like long john socks. That's always a big thing, of course, is like making sure that you're prepared for the winter. You can have the snow tires. Like last year, I know I spent on snow tires. It was the first time I actually bought snow tires. Well, they weren't snow tires; they were just all seasons that I changed because my tires, I guess, were balding, and I was recommended to change them. So I bought four. It was probably total like $600 something. Was it 600 something or was it lower? So I mean, I it was definitely cheaper than it could have been. Let's just say that because it could have been like closer to 800, and I ended up paying. Actually, it might have been under 600. So I can't remember the price of the tires, but I think it was like 150 or under per tire. So it could have been closer to actually 400 to 500. So that could be an expense. Like I know the topic probably goes a lot into like buying gifts for people and of course family, but even just like changing weather depending on where you live, you have to prepare. Black ice. The black ice robbed me of my balance. I think that was apparently a whole skit with. If it wasn't Key and Peele, then it was some other group that. Because I've heard that joke around the internet, like, "Oh, the ice was so black it robbed me of my balance." But no, there
Oh
was
my
like an
god.
actual like legit skit. It was like a skit thing. I think it was Key and Peele, and they kept talking. Yeah, because they kept talking back and forth of certain things, and then the metaphors were kind of going out of control because it was no longer talking about ice and snow. It was talking about different people groups. Um, but yeah, you got to be careful. So I know Christmas Day was only negative 15 Celsius. I guess for your region, it's not too bad. So I'm thinking negative 15. That's already below freezing. And then if you live in Michigan, you're like almost
Uh-huh.
Canadian.
Gotcha.
Black
Okay. I
guys.
was like,
Oh, okay. I didn't see your black guys comment. That's hilarious.
yeah.
Um,
I was like, I was. Does it sound like I was saying black guys? It's like I could see that.
now I'm re-
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's funny. That's funny.
oh man.
Mm. Like, I feel like with the weather though, like it just doesn't feel like Christmassy or holiday yet, but like I was still feeling like the pressures of the new year myself. But I don't know, like this year, like I felt like, I mean, I guess because I also like I had a boyfriend, so it was a little bit different. Um, and so I had to get him a bunch of stuff. Well, not a bunch, but because it was also his birthday too. And then like for like my
Mm,
family, I got things for everybody, but I just remember kind of like forgetting. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get something for mom. Oh, what does she want? For my nieces in Tampa, I was like, okay, let me just get everybody, like the whole family, a $75 gift card to Target, and they were very happy with that. They're young,
mm.
like like they don't like they're young, like which is kind of good. Don't do math live on stream; it never looks good. We're just talking about you,
That's a,
Walter Old Quinn.
yeah, I was gonna say, what's
Yeah,
up?
yeah, your ears
I
must
love
be
doing. Yeah,
burning, or you must be sneezing. I love doing math on stream. That's true. Mish
look,
does love
literally,
doing math on stream.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, this is
Uh,
great. This is like 'cause I know end of the year, or if it's one of our reunions in May, anniversaries, I should say. It always ends up being a reunion. But I love how this was like not 100% planned. Yes, we obviously were gonna stream this, but it wasn't like a big like New Year's. Let's get all the people together. Like we had one year where we had like every channel come on, like Tom from Nerds for Yang. You had even I think Matt showed up briefly. You had Dennis from Trumper for Yang. You had of
I think
course Mike
Roberto
from
Blake.
Skeptics.
I think Roberto Blake
He
showed
may
up
have.
that because we're talking about like an Andrew Yang thing, and then everybody just kind of showed up.
Yeah, it might have been. I know one of them was like the Black and Yang gang, but I think there
Yeah.
was another one that was around the same time. That was probably because I think we did it. We had one that was a proper end of year, and we did the other one like earlier in December. And yeah, I do remember that we got quite a bit of a crowd, and so it's fun that this is the first year of the stream of the year, and it's like oh these old faces are coming in. Like at this point, Bat Noir and just like some other people
Right.
just
I know, right?
show up and just
Yeah.
we'll just see people out of the blue.
I
Um,
know Bat Noir needs
anything
to
great.
make an appearance.
Oh, that's funny. So you're tall. Oh, that's funny. So
Facts.
you're. Oh, I guess Polar Nights. You're saying that you're like what 6'6" or something.
Yeah, that's tall. I guess he's gonna tell us in meters and centimeters how tall he
Oh,
is.
right. I said 6'6" as if you're not.
Oh, I thought he did. Okay, 6'10".
Okay,
6'10".
cool.
Sheesh.
I think I'm 172
Oh,
centimeters. I think it's something like that. I used to have it on
yeah.
Tinder, both like like in feet and also in centimeters.
Oh, that's interesting.
2 meters and
I
11.
see you. Market. Yeah, got to know your market, your audience.
Yeah,
2 meters and 11. Interesting.
Yeah, not even close to that.
that's very tall. My boyfriend is 6'3".
Yes.
I have a
Mm,
friend who's like 6'7". Yeah, I don't think I know anybody 6'10". Like that's yeah. He wasn't exaggerating when
yeah.
he said Shaquille. Because I think Shaquille O'Neal's like 7'1".
Oh snap! Okay, he is that tall. Goodness.
Yeah, I was right. The seven
6'3".
one. 6'3". I love
Well,
it.
no, I didn't look it up. I just was like, I didn't realize that. Cause I know Shaq, of course, is tall, but I didn't realize that some of these people were pushing past 7 foot so easily.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he is 7'1". 6'3". I
Jeez.
love how that's hilarious. Like my boyfriend, like we went to like like a party that my friend was having a couple of months ago, and for whatever reason, like there was just like a lot of tall guys there, and like they all just like kind of congregated in the kitchen, and it kind of made him happy because he never like looks up at people. He's always looking down because
Uh,
most people are shorter than him. So he said it was nice to just like be able to look people eye to eye and look up because there was a guy there that was just like insanely tall. But
Sheesh.
yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah, but
But yeah, that's kind of interesting that you rather look up um, instead of always having to look down. The king of the
hmm
kitchen.
yeah, it's funny that they all for once he was the king of the kitchen. No, he was not the king of the kitchen. Some other person was the king of the kitchen. Can't remember his name. But oh, but we always look up to you,
Oh,
Mish.
that's too sweet. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Even though you may
Like,
not be
don't
able to
get us.
see it, I'm sending the hearts. I'm sending the hearts
Yes.
your way.
Mm, yes, Ron. I was gonna say, like, we looking up to you, my G. Like, don't forget us when you blow up.
Right.
As you're blowing up.
Right.
Seriously, appreciate you. Um, how was your holiday, Mish? Actually, since or everyone really, like all the people coming in, I'm kind of curious. And of course, for the topic, what your experience with money during the holiday season. I mean, some of you who are abroad, um, I mean, Christmas is still pretty global, especially because Saint Nick literally was from like what Germany or something, or like I can't remember where Saint Nick is from, but it was definitely some European. Um, so I mean, Christmas is of course, and of course, if you go to the religious connotations, that's obviously going to be from Christianity. Um, but still, like I don't know how the holidays are necessarily celebrated everywhere, so I would be curious to kind of see like how your holiday season was. Everyone, but especially those of you who are like polar nights outside of the U.S., and then how money came up in conversations, whether with family or loved ones, friends, etc. Um, I think there was something that we were talking about
That's a good
that.
question, Toby. I feel like we could definitely talk about that in a later episode, like our relationship with money, especially growing up.
Mm,
Um,
Ooh,
because
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
because what a lot of people don't realize is like spending money is definitely like an emotional thing, and well, yeah, it's definitely tied to an emotional thing, and I'm kind of just came to the realization like marketing, of course, is pulls at our emotional strings, and it's like, oh, I have to buy this thing for Mother's Day. I have to buy this card that somebody else wrote. That's just so beautiful, but you're still spending money for this thing because it created an emotional response due to a holiday that it's like you feel a little bit guilt tripped to celebrate because like yeah, it's your mom, but like for the holidays, for Christmas, with Santa Claus and like just oh, you have to get a gift, you have to do this, you got to do that, everything's on sale, 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 and it's like not really much of a sale, but there's still like that emotional response or just like that obligation that we have to just having to spend, and then it's just January, and then I don't know, it's just like a hard reset, and you just go back to work and just pretend like I don't know, like a lot of people don't get like Martin Luther King Day off or President's Day off or anything, so like their next day off is not until like Memorial Day. So minimum wage is $25 US.
Yeah,
Dang, that's
that's
really
really
good.
good.
That's very good.
Mm,
That's
yes.
yeah, that's 52K a year.
What was I thinking of that you just mentioned? Wait a second. As I know Nigerian friends, it's just hilarious because there actually is like in some ancient, royal family. I shouldn't call it ancient actually, but like probably like pre-colonization, there was a royal family that one of my parents belongs to. So it's like I didn't make the joke a lot early because I didn't really know, and I also didn't watch Harry Potter growing up. But at some point, I put two and two together, and I was like, I'm actually a half-blood prince, haha. And then of course there's the Nigerian prince. Yeah, there was something though that just caught my eye. It was about um okay, it's okay. I'll come back to it. I'll remember. But I think it was something you were saying, L, or something that triggered.
So like holidays, spending.
I mean, yeah, that definitely is a big thing. Of course, it's like that emotional response where you do feel like I have to spend because of this. But I feel like I don't remember if maybe it was nothing. I mean, but overall, everything you're saying makes a lot of sense, and I do agree. I didn't even think of that so much. Of that is a deeper conversation for sure. That could go for another episode. And I think it's something I hear about talked about. Like people mention, what was your relationship with money? And you didn't have the best one, and it was more in control of you versus you controlling it. Um, but just in context of the
Mm-hmm.
holidays, of like kind of as people went through the holidays, and I don't know, maybe for some people they could have had bonuses at the end of the year, or they kind of took stock on everything, or they felt strained because, of course, buying gifts and feeling like you need to do X, Y, Z. Maybe you don't even feel it because of that rush, right? Like the association of
Mhm.
holidays and the marketing, and so you're spending, and it's only later that you get to do a real autopsy. That's also a big thing where you kind of don't realize how much you really spent um, until you get to the, literally next year and through the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's not it, Gil. Like what you're saying, like I completely get that sentiment, and I'm just like, you already giving me ideas for another stream, but that fast, whatever, retire early.
Oh,
F-
financial
It's not
independence,
fast.
retire early, the
It's,
fire. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, yeah, and apparently overemployment where people work two jobs. But let me like I just was reading about this. I've heard about it like last year, maybe even 2022, but I was just reading about this like during the week or last week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that is a crazy thing. 40, 50 hours a week or whatever it is that you just like retire and then you're, already getting in an advanced age. So um, let's enjoy the money and the holidays and everything.
Right. Yeah. Like speaking of which, like Polar Nights puts up a good comment about not knowing what to buy, but like what he bought was still very great and useful because like just this year, my mom um got me a succulent, like a pretty big succulent plant, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. And I thought that was the whole gift. And then like she also had a card, and oh, sorry, let me. And like I thought she also got me a card, and I thought like I was like, okay, that's great, but she also got me like a gift card with some money in it. Like it was what's it called? It was like a food gift card. And but like I would have been totally fine with just a succulent personally. So it is kind of like, it's like I would have been totally fine with just the plant. Like it would have been perfect. Like I'd have been totally fine. I would have just, you know, gone home happy. And like I'm still grateful for the gift card, but what really hurt me was like my mom was feeling really bad. She was like, "Oh no, this isn't enough. I didn't have enough money." I was like, "Mom, you're retired. Like I'm also like grown, you know? Like I don't need many things."
Mm.
Like the succulent plant, which was probably like $9 or something, like would have been perfectly fine. Like it doesn't really need to be much, you know? Gosh darn it. Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, Toby will be back. Um, but yeah, and I did want to put this up again. What Gil said about not minding, like, yeah, I don't mind working on holidays either. It's just like it would be great if America had a season where we all had off,
Hmm.
like that would be great. Because so this past Christmas was the 10-year anniversary of my cousin dying in a car accident. Um, and like if and like 10 years ago was also when places like Best Buy and stuff was having was starting like their like having places open on Thanksgiving. If you remember, they're calling it like Brown Thursday and crap. And it was my first year working in retail, and so I was working and I wasn't able to go to Thanksgiving where I would have seen my cousin, because like he ended up dying, that Christmas. And like because of that, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm never going out or shopping at like on Thanksgiving. No. um I am also not, like if I do, like if I do go back to like if I do go shopping like on Black Friday, it's not going to be like 3, 4 in the morning. It'll be like at a normal hour. If I just happen
Yeah.
to do that, which I typically don't do anyway. Like I don't mind picking, like if I for whatever reason do go shopping on Black Friday, it'll probably be at like 4 or 5 p.m. Like when the other shift people come in, who are probably more rested, but probably not. But
Mm.
like if everybody like literally, like I think in Japan they have something called like Golden Week. I don't know if like literally the whole country's off or anything, but like if we really had something where like the whole country is off, I would like that. Of course,
No,
like
agree.
yeah, like granted, like I know that's gonna be like impossible, especially if like like you work at a hospital or like a care facility or something. But like I was also gonna say like a hotel, and that could be like iffy because it could just be that thing where it's just like everybody just knows you just you can't book that week. But then again, like there could be like safety implications and things like that. So like people trying to
Mm.
get away from like domestic situations and things like that, and or like I don't know. I guess like there could just be a thing where like hospital workers and hospitality workers could just have another week off, like whoever worked that week could just have a different week off and try to, I don't know, but I do think it is possible to just be like it'll just be kind of difficult to pull off, but it is possible.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like kind of like rotating some way to have everyone off, but then you have certain essential services, or maybe you rotate. Yeah, I don't even know. Like I know you mentioned Japan. I have to really look into other countries and like what they do because I haven't even like thought like it might come up like on Instagram. You always kind of see those infographics where it's like, hey, guess what other sane country guess what sane countries are doing around the world that we're not, and so you'll
Right,
see
yeah.
random. But I haven't really seriously looked into like, I wonder if there are things where people give off much larger amounts of time. What I usually hear is that during the summer, that there's like more of a serious like the way vacation is in certain countries, especially certain European countries. It's like I think France was a big one where it's like yeah, you really get that time off, and it's like you really can't overwork it's you would be looked at weirdly if it's like you're not taking this time um or something. Like I remember hearing about something, and I'm like, that sounds so interesting. Where you're working hard, but then you have this time off to actually do what you need to do, and things are a bit more at a pause or something of the sort. And I think I also heard something about like was it Japan? Well, I think this was with my family during like one of the recent holidays. About I mean, it was almost the other way where it was like I think summer they kind of like had mandatory schooling or something, but then maybe during winter they had like a longer break. But that was more for the school time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what we can learn
Yeah.
from other countries or other systems would
So
make
I
sense.
I disagree with polar nights. Like maybe the entire country may not be able to do that, but I was actually thinking like maybe it'll just be different weeks for different states. Um, because like yeah, I think that would be possible for like different weeks for different states. Because like each state kind of is like a little like mini country, or they sure as hell like to act like it. So,
Yeah, I, I can see that, and even still, then like I think the one actually I'll take this as a very literal situation where we had an issue where one family member had a week off before Thanksgiving break started,
mhm.
and the family that they were visiting, they didn't. We didn't go on to Thanksgiving break until the following week, and so
Right.
when you kind of think of it like that, it kind of creates a inconvenience because if you have one family member that lives in another state but yet they're going on break for a week, and then if especially if you're trying to coordinate family members to come together, it may not work out per se.
Mhm.
It could very well cause a very big headache in the long run because again the timing's not going to be there, it's going to be off. Not to say it's not to say that it won't work. It will, but it's just in some cases it could be a very big inconvenience.
Yeah. Like of course it's not going to be perfect. Hey. Hey Rocky. No worries. We're happy you're here.
Hey, you're not late. You just got to the party on time, so you good.
Yes.
That
But
part.
yeah, like you know, like there it's like it wouldn't be perfect. Like there's going to be, different things like cuz I was thinking like, oh, there's 52 weeks in a year and there's 50 states, so technically, but like I don't like I think it would be like I don't know, 25 states or maybe like 10 states all share the same week. And so it would just be like 5 different weeks or so. Like I don't know. But Like, yeah, and
Mhm.
then I mean, I don't know. We do daylight savings. Like the entire country except Arizona gets on the same page. So like
Right.
every 4 years it's a leap year. It's a leap year this year. We just know this. Like it
Mm,
it it can't it
absolutely.
could just be, yeah, it could just be one of those things where it's just like, oh, even years we have a week off in spring, odd years, Florida has a week off in summer. I don't know. Like, I don't know. it could, it wouldn't be perfect. There's gonna be a ton of hiccups, but I think if there's one thing is that no one is going to mistake whether or not it's a work day.
Mm.
Everyone's gonna know when you're not working. If
Yeah.
yeah, if not, someone's gonna remind you. They'll be like, "Oh, what are you doing tomorrow?" It's like, "I'm working." It's like, "No, you're not. We have this week off." It's like, "Oh yeah." Like someone.
True, true, true.
You're gonna drive to the office. No one's gonna be there. You're like, "Oh yeah, we have the week off. How did I forget?"
It's almost like when you would you would find out like from friends that school was canceled for like snow or something. Well, maybe can't fully relate on that one,
We
but
had
we would
hurricane
have snow.
days, so I get it.
Okay, fair, fair, fair. When we would have our snow closures, and it's like you might not have known until like someone texted you or whatever, or
Right.
social media. I mean, back in the day, you had to. I remember seeing memes. I was like, you have to watch the ticker like it's like
Yeah.
a dang draft.
Yeah.
For the
Yes.
2 hour, 1 hour delay. And now what? Can you just get
Yes.
an SMS blast or just anything easier? I'm like, that's not fair. But the point is, like, you'll find out from other people. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not working this week or whatever. It's like, oh right. Um, yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting. I'm gonna have to play it back honestly and kind of like look at other ideas too because it is interesting. I mean I would just love to have like more flexibility because I never really took vacation. Um, like I've had days off, I've built up, um, but I feel like I never really took off like real vacation even during the holidays. I mean I would try to stretch out some of my PTO, but I would also effectively be working most of those days. Like it never really like pretty much everyone in my family always has off that last week because of just whatever the nature of the jobs are, whether it's like my mom who teaches, though to be fair with teaching, the schedule is crazy where like even during that holiday period, you don't have a lot of time off. Like you have right before Christmas, barely. Like you might have the day before Christmas Eve, and then you come back the day after New Year. Still, like there were like reasons why different people um didn't have work. But for me, I didn't have like one of those jobs. Like there's some federal contractors like Raytheon. I had friends who worked for them where it's like they got off the entire last week, and that's just how it is, or last
Hmm.
2 weeks. Now the trade off was weirdly they didn't have MLK Day off, and I was like, what kind of nonsense? But I mean, I objectively it is better to have that time off at the end of the year, but just out of principle, like what are y'all doing? Like honor if you don't honor this man and give
Oh,
MLK Day off,
yeah.
but
Like this
yeah,
job that I have now is like the first job where I had MLK Day off. I can't remember if my last
really.
job did, but yeah, this I've had jobs where like it get to after New Year's and you're like, oh, now it's Memorial Day. Now we gotta wait 5 months, and that was just life.
Mm.
I think that's actually what I remember. That might have been what I remembered earlier. Was like yeah, with holidays, I didn't get off, so I got off MLK Day. Oh, so you were actually saying that after like New Year's, you don't get off until Memorial Day. For me, I had MLK Day, but it's so close to New Year's that it's like okay, cool. You have a few weeks to MLK Day, and then we didn't get off President's Day despite being a federal contractor. Um, and we didn't get off Columbus Day / Indigenous Peoples Day. But that's the end of the year, anyway, like later in the year. But that's also a federal holiday, so it's like we didn't get those two off. We only got Juneteenth off like last year, and then it got revoked this year. But they gave us like a flex holiday, so they
Hmm.
gave us like a floating holiday that you could use at any point. Not even just for holidays, but you could use it any day. However, they also took away Veterans Day, So then it was like, oh, let's pit black people and let's pit black people and veterans against each other. Like, what is going on? So it was really strange. But I think like that's a nice thing too. I didn't mention was like people who do get holidays at the end of the year, that helps, and you also have cash out options. I've actually been kind of interested, even in like in terms of benefits. It was something I floated last year, but like it was not like nearly enough like high priority. And even in terms of my own interest in the topic, where there's a lot of benefits. Maybe we actually did talk about it in another context, but like benefits of like corporate world versus if you're entrepreneur slash gig workers, and how you kind of are able to figure things out, um, with health insurance, legal benefits, life insurance, other things,
Mhm.
like a lot of things that we take for granted being part of our job. But then if you work a lot of positions, you don't get those benefits. And so
Mm-hmm.
end of the year, one of the things you can do, of course, is cash out your paid time off. So I never did it because again, I never really rolled up enough money to cash out my PTO. But like that was a big thing where you can. Some people would cash out. I think with my you can do up for 40 hours, but outside of them, um, I've heard other companies that let you do some type of cash out, and so that's a pretty big boon where people actually can budget in. Like, let me save up my PTO, cash it out. Oddly enough, though, MITRE only lets you do it for the next year. So you choose your cash out during open enrollment, which is in October, typically October, November, but usually like October, maybe ending in November, and then the cash out doesn't come until end of next year. So it's like what? So you wait a year. But I think not every company is like that. But the point is, you might get some kind of boon, whether it's a literal holiday block or some kind of extra bonus or money or something, and that helps, right, to offset other
Mhm.
costs or at least your time and your stress. But anyway, a little bit of a tangent. They don't need weapons at the end of the year, but they do need weapons on MLK Day. The way things are going, yeah, you might need form your own little militia for all the nonsense. Um,
Mm.
start to be a monument and tribute. I didn't know that was a thing.
I don't think so. No, I don't know. I don't think it is like putting up a Barack Obama statue or a monument.
Yeah, I didn't hear about anything. The bigger black money close to that small win. I think he is making bigger black money. You have to look. I mean, I would be surprised only just because of how divided things are. Where it's like, I mean, granted, we have an airport named after Ronald Reagan. Ironic if you kind
Oh
of knew what Ronald Reagan did
no!
with the air traffic.
I no.
Um, I didn't even know about the air traffic controller strike until I saw Washingtonian memes on Instagram posting about how people basically don't call it Reagan, they call it Washington. I'm like, I've been calling it Reagan my whole life, but apparently it's a whole like point of contention. So I guess you could name it after Obama, and demographically, I mean, it would definitely. Oh, okay, so when you said the bigger black monument, okay, that I see now the joke.
Yeah, like I guess the
Because when you said
Washington
black, I was like,
Monument. Um,
yeah, I was like, but
yeah, like
yeah,
I
silo
thought that was
transit.
I thought it was wild because like in Florida, we have a Ronald Reagan Turnpike, and I'm like, what the heck? Did he even live in Florida? I don't know.
Mm,
So no, he's from California.
All right.
That's
yeah,
crazy. Like I don't know. I don't know.
that is interesting.
Yeah, the Reagan years, like that, uh, seemed like a wild time.
I'm
But
gonna do some research on that as well because that's super recent, 80 to 88. But
right,
like, I don't know anything except like a few things that I hear here and there. Maybe after a president say it all. Yeah, it's one of those weird things where when you have a president, you can kind of get certain influences in other parts of the
Mm.
country. Like you, but it depends. Like with Washington, okay, that's everywhere. Cool. Um, you have some prolific figures like MLK, where you do have a lot of streets with that name as well, and so with presidents, it's not always super geographic. I mean, I get you though because Florida is like, I mean, not saying it's random. Like Florida is obviously the big, huge state with, you know, presence, and it's well very relevant right now. But even before now, it's always been relevant. It's always been a relevant state. But it is kind of weird that there might be like Ronald Reagan Turnpike, but maybe it's just one of those things where hey, we're gonna rename it after a president, especially after they pass. But I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen a Jimmy Carter Road. Maybe in Georgia because that's of course the home.
Like
So
where he's
you
from.
might have something like Carter's, especially with Rosalind recently passing. Well, she no, like she just passed now. Like, but Rosalind in general has been a figure who's dedicated her life to things. So, and of course, Jimmy for sure, the Habitat for Humanity. So you might have some presidents that will have more of like a memorialization even before they passed and renaming roads and buildings. But yeah, who
Yeah,
knows?
they were like talking of renaming. I want to say it's like State Road 27 in Florida after Donald Trump. I don't know if
Oh boy.
that's going to happen, but I mean, it's like I think it was just like briefly mentioned, but I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a thing because like it's I don't know, but like that's like that's weird to like was like the airport the Ronald like the DCA Ronald Reagan Airport like I don't know. I guess that just doesn't really make sense to me because it's like was it called the Washington Airport? Because I feel like that makes more sense because he was the first president. And then like they changed it, and it's like how and why? Like
Oh, that's interesting. I wouldn't have even thought of it as Washington, like George Washington, because for me, I just abstract that. So
right,
if it was called Washington Airport, I just would have assumed it was just like the airport in the Washington
Washington
area.
D.C.
But
Yeah,
you're right at that point. Why not just keep it because you have IAD Dulles, um, and then DCA, of course, is now Reagan. But I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure it was just called Washington National Airport. So that is interesting that they felt like they had to rename what was already technically named after a president.
because that's like a really
Maybe,
important airport. Like that's like that's
domestically, yeah,
like the most important. Like that's very strange. Like that.
yeah.
Like what and like how? Like what? Like that's because it had to have existed. It had to have existed before he got into office. It had to have because he just got into office in the 80s. It was like late 70s, early 80s, and like they had planes back then. Like, that wasn't that long ago. Like, that's I don't know. That's so weird to me. Unless like he
I'm
opened that airport. Like I don't know.
structure maybe because that's actually interesting because even something I just thought of was JFK and how like that's obviously huge. I've actually never been to JFK, which is hilarious because I spent a few years upstate New York, but I never flew internationally out of New York, so I never like did what a lot of people do, where they would go to JFK and then fly out. Because I just if I was ever flying like that, I was doing it back home in Maryland, so
Hmm.
I would have used Ellis, which is actually the big one for international flights. And Reagan is just super big domestically. So
Right.
JFK is like, wait a second, what's going on here? Aren't you from Massachusetts? But it could have been a thing where he was president and there was some groundbreaking or something. Or I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what the decisions are because like Boston Airport is General
Logan.
someone Logan. So you have Logan. Okay, fine. You have like
I
Thurgood
actually don't.
Marshall for being. Hmm?
No, I'm just
No,
saying.
you
I
were
actually
right.
don't know. Huh? No,
Oh no,
it's
sorry. Continues.
like I don't know who Logan even is. I don't know what because that is a name. I'm like, yeah, I don't even know who that's named after.
I don't know the guy's first name. Well, like General something Logan. I'm not sure what the history is. I'll have to look
Right.
it up.
It's like, do
But
we
it
want
is
to know?
funny.
But
Do you want to know? So you know what? I think I'm gonna just do a little bit of like, why are some of these airports named after who they're named after? Because most of them aren't named after presidents. They're just kind of random names. And some of the codes are like I think a big one was like Was it MCO? Is that Orlando? There was some that was like, or it might not be that one.
I think
That
MCO is
MC,
Orlando because I think MCY is like Louisiana, New
yeah, it's like
Orleans. I think
MC or MSY.
yeah, MSY. Yeah, because MCO I believe is Orlando. I don't know. I don't know what MCO even stands for. I'd assume the O is Orlando,
Right.
but
And some of them had older names that got renamed, so they kept some of those old names. And I think that was MCO or MSY or both. Whereas like MSY has nothing to do with New Orleans if you just say it, but it used to be some other name. So Joe Biden have a feel. Oh no.
I don't know. Like
Campaign
it's
studio named after him. Hilarious.
yeah.
Some people are retired. Those retirees have moved to Florida and they vote. It's
Yeah.
Rocky. Oh man.
ONT.
Yeah, and I've never heard of ONT. I don't know most airports in
Cal-
um, California
S.
at all.
I think SFO is San Francisco,
I've heard that
and
one.
the LAX, of course. Like who doesn't who
Yeah,
doesn't know
LAX is the
LAX?
one that I actually know. As well as San Diego, I think is SD something. But LAX, I've flown in there when I went there in 2022, and then there was three options of flying out. So it was like LAX, and then there was I can't remember right now, but there was like a few other airports relative. I think it was Long Beach might have had its own airport, and then there was another one. Um, um, and I'll end it with your. I actually got to know your airports. I didn't fly in, but I was looking to go to was it Miami Carnival. I didn't end up getting to go, but I remember in 2021 October, I was like, I'm gonna go in. So I literally was doing all this like mapping out of
Mm.
like the airports between FL. I mean, yeah, Fort Lauderdale, which wasn't even like the main one, but it was still prominent enough. You have, of course, at Miami, so MIA, and then there was a third one.
PBI.
Interesting. Say it again.
Is it PBI?
I don't think so. Oh wait, that's Palm Beach.
Yeah, Palm Beach International.
Oh, it was West Palm Beach, unless that's the same one.
It would be like, yeah,
That's
that would
weird. I
be
didn't,
yeah, because it's in West Palm Beach. Palm Beach International is in
huh.
West Palm Beach.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I just forgot the acronym, but yeah, I believe it was West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale,
Mm-hmm.
and then MIA. And so I was looking at those three airports, and um, it was just interesting to kind of like bounce around. And but those made sense because they were literally just based off the names of the cities.
Mm-hmm.
So no weird general or colonel. Not weird, but like like it's it's no weird like hidden acronyms that we have to like reverse engineer to figure out.
That's true.
Um,
Yeah. Right. Yeah, because like that's true. That's kind of bad for. I'm trying to think if MCO is Orlando. I think so. Because I was like trying to think if it's ORL, but I don't think so. I think it is MCO.
yeah, because I flew in there once for a conference, and I'm pretty sure it was MCO when I booked it. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting.
It does sound like
Oh,
something
but
they would do.
actually, so yeah, I was like, I had to laugh at that. Landed that year. I mean, I definitely made a bad time landing strip joke once. But
It didn't
that's not
land.
something. Oh, haha, that's actually cool. Oh, jeez. But what was the Sorry, I did want to ask real quick for Polar Nights. You mentioned can I ask a question? Or can you ask a question for me? And shoot, go ahead. Um,
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah. Ask away, Polar Knights. What is your question for Toby?
Mhm.
feels so special all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, hopefully
Mm-hmm.
cancel this hot seat moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you'll be fine, Toby. You got this. I know one. And you guys talking about airports. I know one that has always stumped me was ORD.
ORD. Oh, I have. Oh yeah, that's not Chicago. One of Chicago's airports.
Yeah,
Or is that
Rope,
not
O'Hare.
even?
rope, mania,
That one's. Oh
manlier.
man. Wait a second. Is this someone I know who's wrote? Man, I haven't seen the name before.
Well played, Madam L. Well played.
No, it was well played. I didn't even
Yeah,
like
it's
catch.
very like
That's
a
so funny. Landing strip, like it, the joke wrote itself, and I completely missed it. Or like I completely walked into it.
Mm-hmm.
hmm. Where Polar Nights is at.
Yeah, Polar Nights. You're good to ask away. Or maybe this is an intense question. This is like a there's some build up. It's about to be a multi-part question. It's about to be a multi-part question.
I don't know what time it is in Norway.
Mm.
It's got to be
It's
early.
around the time. It's around the time of the UK, I think. Um, I forget though exactly. 5:11 a.m. Yeah, so 6 hours. Um, that's exactly yeah, because 6 hours should be the same distance as like France. I think actually, I think UK is 5 hours ahead. Um,
The circle game?
yeah, I'm not sure what that's referring to.
Yeah, it's the circle game.
Oh wait a
Mm-hmm.
second. I just looked it up. Apparently, it's like a Joni Mitchell had a song, the story of a circle becoming an adult, expressing the inevitability of time and growing up. It's a popular camp song, one with which I had a love hate relationship throughout my early years. Well, someone I think is writing this article from the first person, but
I know. I was like, this sounds like the beginning of a recipe, and I don't mean like a bad recipe, but just like an actual like food recipe. You know, like in those blog posts when you look at like, oh, how do you cook this thing? And then they have to tell you their backstory of their life for the first couple of
uh,
paragraphs, and then
huh, that's interesting. So this is someone I know then because I went to that's definitely my alma mater. Um, yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, I
welcome.
posted it. This is the first time I finally shared the stream on like my networks. Um, oh, I know who this is. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah. We drove in circles around because our school was on the Hilltop Circle, so it's literally like one big circle around. And one time, like we're driving back late at night. Oh, this whole thing is ridiculous. This has to be like 2014 or something. We drove back because we were from the same town. Not the same high school, but the same county. And so like we were going back one day after being home, and he's driving me around the circle, and it's like, okay, we've passed this like the entrance multiple times now. Can we please go into the school? And so eventually I was like, okay, no, I didn't have my license, but I was like, I'm gonna take the car and drive. Um, I'm pretty sure this is I'm like 99.999% sure this is the friend who I'm thinking of. Makes sense. You would have counted for Instagram. Um, so I don't usually post on Instagram like that, but I did share this to my story. Hilarious. Welcome to the show. I'll keep you anonymous. I don't even know why that's your username, but okay. Um,
Wrote manlier.
yeah, I have no idea what that means. Even with context, I just still don't know what that means.
I wasn't sure if that was an L or like an I. I was like, wrote me, Manny, man. I think it's
Oh, if
manlier.
that would be a random capital I, but it could be.
No, I think it's wrote. I think it's an L.
Yeah. It is an L.
I
Oh
am
boy.
L. I was just
Yeah.
quoting
Well,
L
maybe
from Death
we might
Note
have. Oh,
because I am L.
that's next. Oh my gosh, I gotta watch that like ASAP. And then report back to y'all in 2 weeks if I can. No, I won't get to it in these 2 weeks because I have some interviews upcoming. But borrowing it from a friend, there's no way you're just borrowing a friend's account. What's that even mean?
They're probably at somebody's house and like they just went on their YouTube.
But they saw my link from their Instagram account,
Yeah,
and then they just didn't have.
they just searched it. It's not hard.
I
I
mean,
guess.
We are the only
no
one on
problem.
YouTube.
You said who's the only? Oh yeah, no, but I don't know. I guess it's just interesting because I never like use. I guess if you're at a friend's place, maybe, but like if I'm like on my own device, unless I have access to log into someone else's, I'm like, wait, how would I use someone else's account? Um, I mean, I know there's some less technologically savvy people, particularly older people, who might end up using other people's Google accounts. That actually had that experience when I was trying to get my taxes filed through a professional, but they were really old school and they had like their son's account logged in, which was fine. But then there was another random person's account logged in who was like one of their clients. And at some point that account requested me to give my like personal information, like a tax, like a W-2 or something. I'm like, well, who is this? Um, or, but anyway, like, so there are times where you'll like randomly be in someone else's account, or of course, if you're a minor and you're like a kid and you're on your family computer, but you do you, Rope Manlier. You do you. No judgment. The rope is just a bit of a troll sometimes, so that's why I'm just like questioning the intention, the motives. I was like, you just, but nothing sinister.
But yeah, it's good to meet you, Rope, if that is your real
Mhm.
name. However,
That's
we unfortunately have to go tonight. I didn't get this on Instagram. So I guess
where did you get
this person already knew about
the stream?
about it, and then
It's interesting, but I feel like I've never seen it. You did. Okay, no. This, yeah, no,
this.
that didn't happen. That didn't happen. I'm gonna actually message them on Instagram to make sure this is the same person because I'm like, no one else knows about the circle game except them, so it's absolutely it has to be him. But I'm like, what's going on right now? Just I can't.
It's probably John Cena.
Let's go, Rocky.
Oh man, I wish it were John Cena.
Oh man, yeah, okay, yeah. The Toby's dad. That's 100% confirmation. It's the friend because this man claims to be my father. 100%, 100% is the person. They're just being a troll, which is fine. But bad timing considering that we're about to get off of here.
Yeah, I know you gotta go.
Right.
You gotta go to bed, Dad. You gotta go to bed. Toby's dead.
Mm,
But with that said, we all have to go to bed. Where is the thing? Is it? Where's the thing? Oh, here we go. So, of course, thank you all so much for watching.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks
Thank
for
you all so much for
watcher
watching.
Quinn. Sorry, ignore that.
What's going on, Toby? I don't know. This is.
Oh, I'm just pointing at the.
I love you, kids.
label.
We love you too, Toby's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. P is
Yeah.
not your
Happy
first
New
initial.
Year.
I don't know.
Good night, Ender.
Yes. Good night. Happy New Year.
Oh, P is the first initial. Gotcha. I was like, wondering what was like.
No, that has to be unless. Yeah, I don't know what they're saying. The initials are, and not this isn't giving anything away, but the initials are the same letter. That is not P. Good night, everyone. Ender, Watcher. Thank you for watching, Watcher.
Yes,
Of course.
thank you all so much.
Nights. Polar Nights, you might have been gone. Just comment in the YouTube or actually I think you're on Twitch, so I guess it might be harder, but I want to know what question you were gonna ask. I guess Discord. So the Discord's there. Boom. Click the link for the Discord. Join it. Um. Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I know why P is the first initial. You're wildin'. That's my literal dad's first initial. So my friend did just DM me on
Oh,
Instagram.
that
You're a
is
liar, by
funny.
the way.
That is funny. That's
But
very funny.
I actually didn't catch that at all because, but it's all good. Subscribe, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hit
Um,
the notification bell. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And see us in 2 weeks. So that
yeah.
is, I don't know, 2 plus 14. So I guess 16, January 16th. That sounds good. That sounds like a
Mhm.
date.
Yep.
Yes, date with Destiny.
Yes.
Do.
Be there or be square.
Yes.
And as always, thank you all so much for joining us. And we'll see y'all soon. And of course, if you want, please chat with us in the Discord.
Yes.
So wouldn't feel
Yeah.
so it's not gonna feel too long since we've been gone.
Yes.
Guys.
And 16, the day that we're meeting, is a square. So be there
Or be
on the square.
four
Oh,
squared.
D4 squared.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, how can I put the 4 there? Thank you for completing that for me.
Yes. I do math. And with that
Even though
said,
someone told us not
and with that said, have a great night, everybody. We love y'all. We'll see you on the next one. And of course, please join us in the Discord. Good night.
to. Yes.
good
Good.
night.
Good night.
Bye.